What's up, YouTube? Zero here. Welcome to the place where gamers, witches, wizards, and superheroes unite. Today, I'm going to be showing some gameplay and giving you some background info on the Tigrex in Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. Now, as I'm getting into it, I do want to say that if you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more Monster Hunter Stories 2 content. I do a bunch of other video games, so check those out as well. Without further ado, the moment you've all been waiting for, let's talk about the Tigrex. I hope you're having a great day and welcome to the video. Yes, I got my Bengals beanie on just because the Tigrex reminds me of a Bengal. It's orange, has stripes, looks pretty much like a Bengal in dragon form to me. But let's talk about the Tigrex in general. This is a very powerful monster. You can actually get him very early on in game if you are powerful enough. He is a royal monster in the Alcala region. If you are searching around, your feline will tell you, hey, there's a royal monster nearby, and the Tigrex will just be having a nice nap. That's right, you're gonna have to wake it up and anger it in order to take it on, and potentially make it retreat and get its egg. Now, even though you can get it early on as a royal monster, you can find it later in the game as you are progressing through the regions. It's going to be in one of your later regions in Rare Monster Dens, and you can also encounter it as you're just going through the storyline. Now, the Tigrex itself is a speed type monster. So when you're facing it, you're going to want to use a technical type monster to get the benefit of the technical over the speed. And when you're facing power type monsters, it's going to be best to utilize Tigrex because speed beats power. You can see there, my Tigrex wanted to be a dumbass and use a power type move, knowing well that the Tigrex we're facing is a speed type monster. Now, when the Tigrex gets mad and you are facing it, it uses power type attacks. That's when you can utilize a Tigrex against another Tigrex if you do want to utilize it. However, using a Tigrex against an enemy Tigrex, I know, getting confusing now, is not smart to start the battle. Use a technical type monster instead. And then once the enemy Tigrex gets enraged, that's when you can pull out your Tigrex and do some damage because speed beats power. Let me just say that again. Tigrex is a speed type monster, so utilize it when you're facing power type monsters. The enemy Tigrex is going to start out with speed. Once it gets enraged, we'll switch to power. Now let's talk about the Tigrex. They are from my Nintendo Switch. That's right, another guest appearance. They're flying wyvern. Primeval in appearance, these flying wyverns possess fearsome limbs, jaws, and claws. Capable of unleashing an ear-splitting roar, they will roam to the far reaches of the coldest climates in search of prey. So they are a master predator. Yeah, they don't show up in the movie Predator. Weird, they should. I don't know why. Now let's talk about Rock Smash, which is the kinship ability of your Tigrex that you can see on the screen. Rock Smash is a pretty cool move. Maybe not the best kinship move that we've seen, but a pretty cool move nonetheless. So Rock Smash bellows a savage roar before diving from a cliff. Creates a catastrophic blast wave upon impact with the earth, sending both foe and the very land itself flying. Deals damage to one enemy. So now that we've talked about the info of our famous Tigrex, I want to talk a little bit about the confirmed moves because I'm not a huge fan of them, and I'm going to tell you why. The first confirmed move is Rock Shooter. Now, Rock Shooter is a very powerful move. However, when you utilize it, it randomly hits an enemy. You don't get a say over which enemy it hits, it just randomly hits one. so it may not target the enemy you want. Now, in a one-on-one battle, it's going to target the enemy you're facing. Like in the battle you see before me, if I use Rock Shooter, it's going to attack the Tigrex. However, when you're facing multiple monsters and enemies, there's no guarantee that it's going to hit the enemy you want it to hit. So it's really a hit or miss move. It's okay, but not my favorite. The second move is the Rampage Gene Heavy Spear. Now, Heavy Spear, it's always going to be a critical hit when it does hit an opponent. However, the accuracy is very low. That's one of the reasons why I don't like it. I don't like moves that may not hit. Yes, it's great that it's always a crit, but unfortunately, the accuracy being very low, you need this next ability that the Tigrex does have, which is Lock On, which raises the user's accuracy on the next turn. So it almost makes it so Heavy Spear can hit, but you have to utilize 2 turns in a row to utilize Heavy Spear. And I don't like that, especially because if you're trying for those head-to-head hits, you don't want to have to use Lock On. You want to just utilize the move that you want to use and go from there. So I'm not a huge fan of Heavy Spear because of its accuracy. There are moves that you can use from other monsters to infuse into your Tigrex that are better, in my opinion. So its monster abilities are Dash and Ivy Climb. So Dash, when you're riding it, you can just move faster. It's going to be harder to control, but you can move faster. Ivy Climb is a really nice one. You can climb that ivy that you see inside of the game and reach those unreachable areas if you don't have a Monstie that can utilize Ivy Climb. So Ivy Climb is really imperative. So utilizing Tigrex in that form is awesome. Definitely put a monster with Ivy Climb in your party so you can get to those ivy areas. Tigrex is a perfect one to do that because of how powerful this monster is. Tigrex is definitely one that should be in your party. A very good monster that you can either get early game as a royal monster in the Alcala region, or you can find it a little bit later in the game as you're progressing through. You'll find its eggs in rare monster dens a little bit later in the game, and you'll also find it sometimes just randomly free roaming in a few areas. Now I want to talk about his weaknesses because I haven't touched on his weaknesses yet. For the head, it's going to be the slashing weapon, so your great sword and your other sword and shield combo. The head is going to be weak to your swords, and then the legs are going to be weak to your bow. So piercing weapons are good for the legs, and then slashing weapons are good for the head. Let me know in the comments section what you think about the Tigrex. Have you used it? Is it one of your main staples in your party? Or do you just prefer something else over the Tigrex in your party? Let me know in the comments section. I do really enjoy using the Tigrex. It's extremely powerful. And again, Ivy Climb can be absolutely imperative when you are roaming the Monster Hunter world to get to those unreachable areas that have Ivy. Something else to note, that to increase the retreat rate, you want to break the head with a great sword after the Tigrex steps on a shock trap. So lay a shock trap, break its head, and it greatly increases the retreat rate so you can get that monster egg. The first time I was able to defeat the Tigrex, the royal monster Tigrex in the Alcala region, I was absolutely stoked. When you are facing Tigrexes, do not take the battle lightly. I did it a few times. It did not turn out well. I was just trying to honestly record gameplay for YouTube. It did not turn out well, trust me. Don't take the battle lightly. When you are facing it in its regular mode, its speed mode, break out a technical Monstie. When it flips to its angry power mode, break out a speed Monstie, because if you don't, you could get really burned. If you play with fire, you're going to get burned. Now, Tigrex isn't a fire type Monstie, but you can give it fire type moves if you want, fire type genes. But don't play with fire when you're facing a Tigrex, a very powerful enemy that you do not want to take lightly, because if you do, you're gonna get burned. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. Again, let me know in the comments section what you think about the Tigrex. I absolutely love it, and it's a main staple in my party right now. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and until next time, peace.